you have a budget of less than 1 million pesos and you're looking for an 8-seater MPV that can seat the entire family comfortably, then this car right here is for you. This one right here is the Maxus G50 Comfort, an 8-seater comfortable MPV that only costs 948,000 pesos. Amazingly cheap. Today I'm going to show you around this car and I'm also going to give it a test drive, so stay tuned. The Maxus G50 Comfort may be a really cheap MPV, but it really gives you a little bit more style to make sure you don't feel as if you got the base model trim. The grille on this one, it may all be straight lines, but they are very complex with a lot of lines over there. Of course, the Maxus logo, and there is even a space here for a front camera, but you don't get LED headlights, but you do get URLs, more than enough. A vent down below, real vents too, and also a chin for a touch of sportiness. Towards the side of the car, it is your typical MPV, so not much lines over here. 16-inch rims, repeaters on your wing mirrors, and that is actually pretty much it. One thing worth noting though is that despite this being an MPV, usually you would get sliding doors, but this one gets opening doors, swiveling doors, so that's really a nice touch for this one. And then even towards the back, they even give you some sort of a diffuser down below, a very prominent Maxus badge over there, and also these nice lights. Open up this massive tailgate, and it is quite long, be wary of that. And over here you got ample space for a couple of luggages, smaller luggages. If that's not enough, you can even fold down these third row seats 60/40, giving you huge space to carry so much items. Open up the engine bay of the G50 and you're gonna expect a huge diesel engine. Instead, what you get is a 1.3-liter turbocharged inline-3 gasoline engine, making an astounding 163 horsepower and 230 newton meters of torque. Can you just imagine that power in an MPV like this? I can't wait to drive this car. The one thing worth noting though is that only this base model Comfort trim gets the 1.3-liter engine. Get the other trims and you get 1.5 liters, but that don't really make any sense because that engine only gets 6 more horsepower and only 20 newton meters of torque. So I think this is the best for when you want to save fuel. This is also mated to a 6-speed manual transmission. Step inside the cabin of the Maxus G50 and check the door thud. Sounds alright. Interior of the G50 is about what you would expect for a car at this price range, rather basic. However, while you do get a lot of hard-stitched plastic, you will be pleasantly surprised to touch this top part of the dashboard because that is just so soft. It's covered in incredibly thick padded material. I love it. Now the part over here, this entire top dashboard is quite far and is quite wide, so you do feel that the hood is a little bit far from you, but I don't know. To some people, they might like that. Personally, I have an odd feeling about it. A basic steering wheel, not even multifunction. You can only tilt it, cannot telescope, but your instrument cluster is really easy to read. There is a screen in the middle, flanked by your speedometer and your tachometer. What you won't expect though, even at the car at this price point, is this center radio. Because it is just that. It has a radio, a tuner, and it has 2 USB ports, but it can't even read your phone, so it only reads something like MP3. No Bluetooth. I know, it's 2022. Air vents, very basic, a single zone, not even climate control, just a basic AC unit. Your aforementioned 2 USB ports, a basic shifter, 6 speeds plus a reverse lockout, 2 tiny cup holders, and a jug holder at the side. Some more things I like about the Maxus G50 are that the seats, they are really soft, and despite being only cloth and not leather and manually adjustable, they feel really comfortable. It is kind of odd that you can't really raise it as high though to see more out of the front, but yeah, you get what you get. And you also have these big quarter windows right here to give you great visibility. You get 2 airbags in this one as well as 4 speakers as well. And now we get into the second row where it gets quite interesting. Check the door thud first. Also sounds pretty good. Now, what's the first thing you notice looking at me here on the camera on the video? Do you see how crazy small I look? Look at the headroom in this one. It's cavernous. I have around like almost half a meter worth of headroom in this one. It's ridiculous. Now the seats too, they're not really too low, but I do find that the sill here by the side can be a little bit high, but that's fine because the windows are quite huge. Nonetheless, for the seats, very comfortable. Legroom is amazing, and of course the headroom. Then you also get these pockets right here, so 1 big pocket and 2 of these for your phones. You also get your own armrest over here with 2 cup holders, 2 air vents, a USB port, and also a 12-volt outlet. And if you want to give the people at the back more space, you can even slide your seats forward. Getting to the third row of this car is almost impossible from the driver's side because this 60/40 folding second row seats only tumble halfway through for that side, but for the passenger side, you can actually slide it forward by just pulling on this lever right here. And when you do climb in, you will be surprised because number one, headroom is great. Number two, legroom is also pretty decent. And that's with this seat right here slid all the way back. Slide this forward and you're gonna have like probably like 4 or 5 inches worth of legroom back here. It's great. Even seating 3 people back here is absolutely doable. Headroom, space, and even cup holders, perfect. And you even get a USB port here at the back. Now we get to drive the Maxus G50 Comfort, and surprisingly, this is actually a rather fun car to drive. You have 163 horsepower, which means if you just do bear your foot down to the throttle, it actually really pulls. Although the engine noise, obviously for an MPV, it wouldn't sound that good, but really, it pulls really hard. In the city, it's so easy to drive this thing. The only problem with this car is that you can't really see the front of your hood because it's so low down, you don't know where the edge of the hood is. But the rear part, the sides, you see so much out of it, and you even get rear reverse sensors, so it is perfect. The steering wheel is also really light, obviously with no feedback, and it is electrically power assisted, but for the city trips, it is perfect. Take it up over to the highway and it does tighten up, giving you a reassuring ride. But as the name of this car would suggest, it's the G50 Comfort. It is really comfort oriented. The suspension is so forgiving, it's even softer than its Japanese competitor, also known as the photo bomber of the Philippines. I'm sure you know what I mean. And despite that, it's not as floaty as well. So it still has some sort of composure when you take corners really fast, especially with that 163 horsepower. Another thing I really love about the G50 Comfort is that despite it being an MPV at this price range, NVH is surprisingly good, NVH suppression. So there's really not much noise that enters the cabin even when you're going at speed. Those tires are really quiet. The wind noise is pretty subdued as well. And yeah, as I mentioned, harshness is also pretty well subdued. I love it overall. Yeah, that picks up really fast. Oh, you can really hear that turbo spool. And the shifting is so easy. Okay, the gear shifts in this one, they're not crisp. They're more of slick. The gear selector is just so easy to put into gear, but it's in no way crisp. And the clutch action is so soft. The biting point is so easy to find. Even novice drivers of manual vehicles will not find the G50 Comfort to be a hard car to drive. And now here on the highway, it's just so much fun. It's so planted. Now let me try to like overtake here. It's so responsive really, and that again 163 horsepower in an MPV. I absolutely love it. Fuel consumption though, in the city you can get around 7 kilometers per liter, and over at the highway you can get around 13 to 14 kilometers per liter. So for 948,000 pesos, the Maxus G50 Comfort delivers so much comfort, so much refinement, and just oh so much power for that low price that is way below its competitors. So I think that this car, when it comes to these 8-seater or even 7-seater MPVs, this is one of the ways, really, one of the best ways to go.